We are so excited to meet with you today and tell you more about our collaboration with Gilda's Toronto, and more specifically, the Caregiver Support Program. So just some housekeeping. We did create this event with contact details hidden. So should you choose to share your name or have your camera on or off, it is your personal choice. And to let you know, we will be recording today's session. So please keep that in mind. Today, we will be providing you with a brief understanding of programming at CCC, as well as hearing from our friends at Gilda's Toronto. I'd like to introduce myself, Jennifer Hooper, as the National Program Manager at Childhood Cancer Canada, and Tory Hagerman, the Family Support and Outreach Manager from Gilda's Toronto. Hi, Tory. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Jennifer.
So a little bit of history about Childhood Cancer Canada. We are committed to helping create victories for children with cancer. We invest in life-saving research and empowering programs to support children and families across Canada. We were founded in 1987 by a bereaved parent, and since then we have grown to the organization we are today. Their impact over the last 22 years has been significant. So 55 million has been distributed to families across Canada, 10.7 million invested in pediatric oncology research. And we've awarded, probably this is one of my most favorite statistics, is we have awarded over $2.4 million in scholarships to students who were diagnosed as children. And many of these children have chosen careers in medicine, nursing, and research. So we know that they're creating a positive and furthering incredible outcomes for kids. So how we support families? We support families in 4 different signature programs. So our emergency fund, as long as your child undergoes active treatment, you are entitled to $300 every calendar year, and the payment comes in form of a check within 5 to 6 weeks of completing the application. There is no means test, and requests are approved by a selection committee. All names, addresses, personal details are removed. We share only the diagnosis, age, and hospital, and the reason they're accessing the fund only to the committee. The Empower Pack is available for all recently diagnosed children, so this includes children that are in active treatment. The Empower Pack includes a tablet, a case, a small toy or craft, and resources, materials for parents. And applications may be completed online as well. The last 2 programs are Survivor Scholarship, and we open the portal for that every March 1st to April 30th on an annual basis. We provide scholarships between $1,500 and $5,000 for post-secondary. So this is available for, the $5,000 is available for STEM certificates or STEM programs, and then the rest for $1,500 is all streams, and it can include any colleges, universities, or trade schools. So it is open for students that are available for full-time programs, and it must be an accredited Canadian or US school. Lastly, we do have a benevolent fund, so we do provide up to $1,500 of support for end-of-life arrangements for families undergoing financial distress as well as emotionally and mentally. So again, applications are submitted only by the social worker for this particular program. We also disperse funds towards research. So since 2005, we've awarded $6.5 million in funding, and more than 55 Canadian researchers have been awarded grants. And another fun fact is we've also been provided with Profile $670,000, and that is to support hard-to-cure cancers. Okay, so the main reason why we're all here today. So in 2024, Childhood Cancer Canada and Gilda's Toronto collaborated together to address the gap in need for psychosocial oncology support for families. So we are committed to working together, and since then, Gilda's Toronto has completed 40 support planning meetings with families across Canada. So, and without further ado, we are going to be announcing the spring session that will run from April 29th to June 17th, and that is from noon to 1:30 Eastern Standard Time. And I believe there are still spots available for this group, so if you're interested, please stay on the video, and Tory will bring us up to speed with what's happening at Gilda's and everything needed. So welcome, Tory.
Thank you, Jennifer. I'm really happy to be here today and so glad that you all could join us. So thank you all for being here. I'm here today to share with you about Gilda's Toronto and specifically the programming support that's available as to come of our partnership together with Childhood Cancer Canada and the collective initiative to provide meaningful psychosocial support for parents and families experiencing childhood cancer illness. Cancer is complex, and at Gilda's Toronto, our philosophy is simple. We believe that everyone living with cancer should have a welcoming, supportive, and inclusive community to rely on throughout their unique journey. Our goal is to ensure all those affected by cancer receive highly individualized, no-cost psychosocial support that they deserve. As a result of our time together today, I hope you'll understand the scope and innovation, and the comprehensive psychosocial cancer support that we provide, how we create community, and how you may become to get involved. Gilda's Toronto was named after the late comedian Gilda Radner, who was diagnosed with cancer in 1986 and quickly understood the importance of the social emotional support. Whether you've received a cancer diagnosis or you're someone in someone's personal care team, we're passionate about providing you with the emotional support that's sometimes overlooked during cancer treatment. This support can mean the difference between dread and hope, loneliness and belonging, isolation and connectedness. And it's the heart of our mission to make certain everyone in our community, including children, youth, and families living with cancer, feel a measure of relief and reassurance together every day. So who do we serve? Since first starting in 2001, we have uplifted and strengthened thousands of people impacted by cancer, including their caregivers, friends and family, children and youth, as well as those who have lost someone from cancer. Becoming a member at Gilda's Toronto is simple and completely free. Membership is open to pediatric caregivers and the siblings of those families. Referrals can be made from healthcare professionals, community organizations, or self-initiated. To become a member, you simply go to our website, www.gildasclubtoronto.org, and click on Get Support, Become a Member. From there, you'll fill out the appropriate form that's applicable to your situation. In our circumstances today, it would be our caregiver form. Once submitted this application, the membership inquiry that we refer as, you'll then receive an automatic email that prompts you to schedule a support planning meeting, where we'll then review our confidentiality, our consent, and go over a unique program plan that addresses your own individual needs. So our cancer support source. A person's unique program plan is then determined through a survey we describe as the cancer support source. This screening survey is unique and proprietary to the cancer support community and Gilda's Club International. It identifies important concerns and key areas of patients' lives and caregivers, and screens people for their at risk for depression and anxiety. It's a validated and evidence-based cancer distress screening tool, and it integrates screening, referral, and follow-up care. Of course, everyone here today recognizes this in the most personal and individual way. Caregivers face significant challenges. I share this in hopes of offering validation. Here you can see the caregivers' top responses from our cancer support source. The number one being feeling afraid or nervous, followed by changes to disruptions in work, school, and home life, and finally, feelings of sadness and depression. A thorough screening from the cancer support tool distinguishes between different mental and physical health concerns. It really enables us to provide individualized with that personalized, customized support through our programs. Here you can see our pillars of supports. I refer to our supports within these realms from support groups, which are our most commonly accessed program. Our support groups are held consistently, seasonally throughout the year. They run 8 weeks in length. All of our support groups are virtual and are facilitated by mental health professionals. We also offer education. Education sessions are typically delivered by professionals within the community, experts, who are really focusing on specific content related to the cancer experience. With this holistic approach, we also offer healthy lifestyle programs, programming such as yoga, mindfulness, Zumba, stretch and tone. These programs, again, they're all virtual, so everyone has access within the confines of their home. Finally, we offer social connections, keeping Gilda Radner's spirit alive. Our Nevermind comedy show would be an example if you're local in the local community of Toronto, GTA. And we also have children, youth, and family programming. Healing doesn't happen in isolation. One of the most powerful tools when experiencing life-changing events, such as trauma, grief, and loss, can be peer support. Research shows that peer support can reduce hospitalizations, increase engagement in care, and improve overall mental health outcomes. It complements professional services, and it doesn't replace them. It offers something often that clinical relationships can't. The role of peer support in healing can include emotional well-being and coping, quality of life enhancement, the social connection and sense of belonging, mental distress reduction and self-care, and practical assistance and empowerment. We often hear that being in groups with others, going through similar experiences, is extremely comforting and helps reduce anxiety. However, the impact goes beyond the individual. What we hear and see so often that what begins with support for the individual, that self-care, trickles throughout the family, and it builds resilience and healing within the entire family. Which is why we're here today, again, to share with you all our upcoming Pediatric Parent Support Group. As Jennifer mentioned earlier, the group will begin at the end of this month, Tuesday, April 29th, and it'll run for 8 weeks from 12 to 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. This pediatric parent group was formed in this collaboration between Childhood Cancer Canada and Gilda's Toronto to recognize the gap in pediatric family support. Through this partnership, we've really strived to continue this program, offering it 3 times a year for families across Canada. This is a virtual group. And again, how you would participate is becoming a member at Gilda's Toronto and completing your support planning meeting prior to starting group. So really, I wanted to share with you all today an overview of how we see and know cancer impacting the entire family and every individual within the family. Emotionally, how that holds a meaning for everyone within that family unit. Floating above the surface, you see the individual living with cancer, as well as the caregivers and other children that could potentially and possibly are in the home, the siblings of the child. We know each individual family member experiences the impacts differently. Stress and burnout, loneliness, anxiety, a sense of isolation, helplessness, feelings of confusion, regression, fear of mortality, the loss of normalcy, body image, anger, sadness, depression, fears of losing a sibling and other family members, feelings of confusion, regression, and avoidance. If we look deeper below the surface, we know that it impacts relationships. We often see and hear increased tension, the physical and emotional exhaustion, different coping styles and how that affects relationships, financial strain, reduced intimacy, caregiver roles, the changes in the household roles, unresolved grief, emotions, increased conflict, difficulty discussing with children and possibly understanding their developmental considerations, and deeper, outside of the confines of the home, we see the social impact, the limited social support, how people are with good intentions, offering those good intentions, but how unhelpful those words and actions can be, and the profound impact of the loss of income, the increased medical cost, thoughts on how to inform schools, fears of judgment, shame, and isolation. To offer insight into the group, here you can see the resounding themes which have been brought to the group experience from other pediatric parents. In vulnerable sharing, participants seek validation, really desiring a space to be seen and heard. We know sharing stories can reduce shame and isolation, and it helps normalize the healing journey. Peers offer empathy in ways others can't. So often, every day, I speak to individuals who say, I have a good support system, I have good friends, I have a family support system, but yet I can still feel so alone. And I think this really gives a good image of how when participants join a group where they're seeking that sense of validation and really trying to find a space where they can feel seen and heard and really gain a sense of confidence in what they're going through. At its heart, peer support is about connection. And the healing can often come from finding that moment to really connect with others who can relate to your experience and know that you're not alone in that. So, to summarize, we see the profound impact from a support group and that peer support with individuals where they leave the group feeling more connected with others and are better able to express a broader range of their emotions, where they're able to find hope and meaning, where they're able to communicate about their own experiences more confidently, whether it's speaking with their children at home or speaking with their medical care team. They're better able to manage their emotions because they've gained tools and insight into how to manage or to find what works for them. And ultimately, to find meaning in those connections, again, with others who can truly relate. So you may be familiar with the peer support model. However, what makes Gilda's Toronto stand apart from other support group offerings is having the professional facilitator take on the group with a clinical lens. As I described earlier, from the moment of contact with Gilda's Toronto, we're here to support you, offering that personalized, tailored support where we assess the individual's needs. We're then there with the members throughout their experience, and we really try to offer that support on an ongoing basis. Our virtual support groups are successful because we take the time to really help prepare members for the experience and answer their questions and really give them guidance and direction in how we find what makes a support group successful. During your support planning meeting, we review the group guidelines and consent, and we try to really give you a full understanding of what the group experience is like. For example, we let members know that during group, there may be weeks where you find it harder to show up because you're feeling heavier that week. And maybe, you're not able to participate as much because you're feeling that sense of heaviness. And we let you know that it's okay. It's okay if you're there that week just to listen, because others are there to sit with you in it, and there's no expectation. We offer the opportunity to reach out. We really tried to let members know if the group isn't feeling right, to reach out and share that with us so we can support you, whether it be conversation or accessing other resources. That support is there where you don't have to be alone in it if it's not feeling right. Between the support group sessions, we're offering those member check-ins and really there to provide support throughout the experience. And finally, it's the professional facilitation lens that helps ensure the success of the group, with the facilitators really being there to guide the group and help pull everyone's unique experiences, those threads together to form the group and to be aware of the group dynamics. It's that professional lens of facilitation that ensures the success of that group. So with our holistic approach at Gilda's Toronto, in particular with the support group, there's a profound sense of community and support that's formed. We often see this come out through the emotional support, where families can share their experiences with others and feel understood. There's a reduction of isolation and a fostering a sense of belonging, a place where members can feel seen and heard, where they can be vulnerable. Stress reduction, to manage stress and anxiety associated with the cancer experience, to know, if it's been a difficult week or maybe it's been a difficult few months, you can come as you are and hear from others and share with others and learn tools to support that. We often see improved communication where families are better able to communicate with each other about their emotions, their challenges, and really seek practical advice. Community support can offer guidance on whether it's navigating the medical system, financial challenges. In group, I often hear parents say, "Oh, I was able to access this. Have you heard about this?" Or "Someone directed me here. Have you looked into this?" Or even just from a caregiver's lens. Again, that validation of what those responsibilities are like. It enhances overall coping skills to learn from others' experiences and how this can build hope and resilience. I hear in group of families sharing, my experience is different. Or maybe I shouldn't be here because they seem like they're in a worse place. I think something that's important for anyone who's interested in the support group experience to keep in mind is everyone has a value, a purpose to be there. Whether you're in a different place or not, you have something to bring to the group. And if that's different from someone else, that's okay, because what hope and resilience means for everyone is different, and what people can take away from that is valuable. So more than support, this is a quote from a previous pediatric participant that I thought was important to share today. This group has been a critical part of my self-care and coping post my daughter's diagnosis. By having a group to express myself in a vulnerable way, it has given me more empowerment and ability to feel seen. This space has been invaluable in allowing me to find my way through the trauma and processing the experience as a family. The facilitators added warmth and a meaningful discussion, which was also appreciated. So I've shared a bit about the pediatric parent group. I'd really like to highlight those other pillars of supports that I had addressed that we offer at Gilda's Toronto and how they might be helpful for you and your family. In particular, we think about children, and here you'll see we offer a couple children and teen support groups. Again, these are virtual. Our Kids Talk Out support group, our Kids Grief 2 group, and our Teen Talk program. Kids Talk Out and Kids Grief 2 are for children ages 4 to 12, whether you have a family member living with cancer or someone who's died from cancer. These groups are entirely appropriate for siblings of children who are living with cancer. And the intention is really to connect children with other kids where they can know and feel seen that they're not alone. And what we try to focus on in the group is building that psychosocial education of what is cancer, but really focus on what is grief and what are all the feelings we can have when something really big and hard happens in life. And try to give them the therapeutic play and outlet to be able to understand and label those feelings, but develop their own coping toolkit. And how do you manage those big feelings? We also have a teen talk program of a teen support group where we hear from teens that they have their friends at school. We know teens socially that is significant in their life. They have those relationships at school, but they don't really understand what it's like. And the Teen Talk is a place for them to meet peers who understand what it's like. So jumping back to the Kids Talk Out and the Kids Grief too, how we engage them virtually is why we mail a package of activities to the children's home, and we follow an evidence-based curriculum that's been designed with therapeutic modalities to really help engage the kids, but offer them an outlet to express themselves. We know play is the world of children, and using these art and play experiences really helps make the connection to the theme of what we're talking about that week, but also gives them that outlet to find their meaning and their process in making sense. Here you can see a couple of activities. There was a worry eater we created to really understand the mind-body connection of what it's like to hold worries and anxiety in your body and how to manage that. In between is a pillowcase, a memory pillowcase of a young girl who is processing the loss in her life. And finally, to the right, you'll see a picture of, it's actually two activities going on there, but it's a dot method where we use dots to really help build the understanding of what cancer cells are, where it starts in the body, and what that means, and what are the treatments. How do we treat cancer? So we use these stickers referred as the dot method. And then you can see there's some clay over top. We also have combined here where we used clay to manipulate to make cancer cells where they can have concrete play to help understand what cells are in the body, what are their roles, their purposes, and what cancer can form to. So the next program I'd like to highlight is Careful Steps. Careful Steps is one-on-one. It's one of the few programs at Gilda's Toronto where parents can have that one-on-one support. It offers guidance to parents, guardians, who are concerned about the impact a cancer diagnosis and treatment may have on their children. These one-on-one sessions are providing personalized support in the sharing of resources and practical tools to enhance parenting skills to better support their children's coping. So these sessions are offered one-on-one. They're held with a certified child life specialist. myself, or my colleague, and parents are welcome to utilize this program as much or as little as they need. I often hear, I have this thought in my head of a mom that told me once I was handed a pamphlet at the hospital, how to talk to children about cancer. But what does this actually mean when I need to sit down and have really difficult conversations? How do I actually do that? I share this as an example of how careful steps can help empower parents for these conversations. Through careful steps, we really try to address any challenge or thought, emotion that parents are feeling to support their children. Common themes that often are talked about in careful steps are around guidance on how to share information with children around cancer or treatment, or potentially how to discuss death. We really spend a lot of time around strengthening conversation and communication in the home, how to really develop that and make sure that communication is ongoing, where parents can feel empowered to really inform, include, and involve their children and feel confident in being able to do that. And finally, we offer education and guidance around how to understand children's typical developmental responses to illness, grief, and loss. Something I always say is you might have shared information and felt like you didn't get it right. It's okay to not have had to just have one opportunity. You get time to rehearse this. It's okay to have a redo, to go back to your children and say, maybe I didn't get it right, or something's changed and I think I could share that again. In careful steps, we try to give you those concrete tools, strategies, resource to really feel you can open the door for conversation and to know, something else that comes to mind when I talk about careful steps is um, how families perhaps have an intention of wanting to keep family information private and what kind of message that might give to children. Information can be private, but it's important for children to know who in their life they can talk to and seek support from. And reassuring them, if something changes, I'm going to let you know. So they don't have to go to school all day and wonder, has something changed? My sister didn't seem like herself, or dad really seemed off last night. Is something going on that I don't know about? Where if that communication is open and that trust is there, children have that trust to know that they're informed, included, and involved. So finally, I wanted to share a little example of an activity that came from a careful step session of a family, a mother and a daughter. And it was something the mom had really been trying. Her goal was to help her daughter have an outlet. Um, wasn't sharing a whole lot, and they weren't having as many open conversations. And this activity was given as a resource, and the families tried it out. So on that piece of paper, they took a moment to write down all the things they hate about cancer and all their hard feelings and shared each other their words, their thoughts, their heaviness that day, that month, maybe it was that year, and they wrote that down on the paper together. So that was the first part in finding the outlet. And the second part was being able to let it out with the water balloons in their driveway and really see that visual representation that wiped away their sense of heaviness. And together they found connection. Ultimately, that is what it is about, whether it's in a peer support group or with your family at home, having that connection to be able to navigate the significant life events together and find support and community together. I thought that was a nice example to finish off. And that is all from me at Gilda's Toronto. I have left here our contact information. Again, if you're interested in support, I hope you'll visit our website and reach out. And we're happy to start initial conversations to answer any questions and to support you and your family. And thank you very much for listening today.
Thank you so much, Tory. I love ending it on that video. I think it was a beautiful way to show how families can really come together and how youth can feel empowered. And I think that video really highlighted all of the messaging you put together for us. And I think I know that Gilda's Toronto will definitely help a lot of families and children deal with their emotions and know that Childhood Cancer Canada and Gilda's Toronto are here for them and to support them along their journey. So thank you so much. And, again, there's some resources Tory used here today. And then really this is just an opportunity for anyone that has some questions and we can provide you answers. Hopefully, I hope Tory has all the answers. So yeah, no, we did receive one question in advance, and that was if this the caregiver support program was virtual or in person. So, with Tory's presentation, I think that was pretty evident today, but it is a virtual program. And so if you're in any province across Canada, please get in touch with myself or Tory and her staff at Gilda's, and we can put you in touch with the program and help you as soon as possible. So again, it is virtual. It's an 8-week program, and it's from noon until 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I don't know if there's any questions from any of the caregivers that are on the call today. I'll just open it up. If you don't feel comfortable turning your cameras on, please write it in the chat. We're happy to answer anything you have. Okay, well, I'll ask Tory one question then, if that's okay. So you really highlighted how essential communication is within the family unit. And I'm just wondering, I know we talked a lot about the children today, but in terms of a couple or a caregiver and their partner who is closest to them, whether it be through marriage or another family member or friend, is there anything that could help them start a conversation about needing support, or if you yourself are kind of hard to, don't like to ask for help, what are some methods or ways of opening that communication up between yourself and another close knit family member or a friend?
I think I share this a lot with parents. You follow their lead, but you lead by example when wanting to support your kids. It's so important to really parents know their kids best and you take their lead, but you also at the same time truly need to lead for them. And I think the same goes between relationships in a home where partners can feel that sense of conflict in accessing support, whether they're open to it or not as themselves, or maybe wanting their spouse or partner. to as well, and I see so often is where one parent might reach out on their own and initiate support for themselves, and that trickles throughout the family. And partners can see, oh, this might be a good thing, or I can see the impact that it has on my partner or spouse. And that might prompt them to be more curious for support. So I think it's important as a caregiver to really be attuned to your own needs and to recognize this is not normal and this isn't okay and this isn't easy and it's okay to have support, that you don't need to do it alone. Whether your partner or spouse is there with you in that same moment of time, it's okay to reach out for support for yourself and to take care of your own needs. Because I think what comes of that, when you can recognize your own self-care and your own needs, that ultimately supports your family better at home, whether they reach out down the road or not for their own support. In the support group, I think of an example around at times parents might come to a group. We offer another group where both parents can participate as well. And I think a common theme that comes up in that group is communication in the home and how cancer implicates communication so deeply in the home, and how partners potentially prior to cancer were really strong communicators and had open communication and consistent and were right there with each other like this. And then cancer entered their lives and a divide happened with their communication. But we also see it and hear it where it happens the other way. Potentially, they weren't very strong with their communication. And then cancer came into their lives and they were actually able to come together and build a stronger sense of communication and form of communication with each other.
That's great.
So that's kind of my initial thoughts of your question.
Yeah, no, that's great. See, I knew you'd have all the answers, Tori.
I hope it makes sense.
Yeah, I'll just pause briefly to see if there are any last questions or comments, if anyone has any feedback for the program, or if you foresee any barriers to the program for you and your family. We're more than welcome to take feedback or comments at this time as well.
I really hope those that are here today, or whether you're watching this in the future, will feel encouraged to reach out and share that feedback. Jennifer and I and everyone at Childhood Cancer Canada and Gilda's Toronto, we're working so hard to try and meet the needs of pediatric parents and families. And we really take that feedback to know, what is your barriers and what are your challenges that you're facing, to know how we can support you accordingly. And maybe that's making changes, even something as simple as the timing of this group. It's difficult being across Canada to meet time zones, but please feel free and open to share that with us, and let us know what those barriers, challenges, what would be the most intentional, meaningful type of support that we could offer. We're happy to hear it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for everyone joining us today, and we look forward to hopefully you reaching out and getting in contact with us regarding the Caregiver Support Program. Thank you again, Tory and team at Gilda's Toronto, and thank you so much for participating with us today. We appreciate your help and guidance support throughout this whole journey.
Thank you.
Thank you.